is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. A Hobart property developer has been fined more than $200,000 for illegally demolishing a heritage-listed home at Mount Stewart. Authorities say it sends a strong message to rogue developers who flout planning regulations.
Darko Krajinovic runs from court this afternoon, hiding his face from the media after being sentenced.
Do you regret demolishing the house?
His offences described as very serious. He pleaded guilty to the unauthorised demolition of a heritage-listed Mount Stewart home in February and the removal of protected trees. His works releasing carcinogenic asbestos fibres into the air. Despite pleas from neighbours and council officers to stop, he persisted, saying, "It's my place, I can do what I want."
I think that this developer has been a reckless idiot, to be quite frank, and so we need to make sure that he's well and truly punished. He's made an example of.
Today, Krajinovic was handed a penalty the magistrate said needed to be high to deter him and other developers from going rogue. A $225,000 fine and the order to pay council's court costs, estimated to be $40,000.
I think the community's lost a lot. Considerable amount of heritage, cultural heritage on this site. So we're very, very keen to make sure that that's returned as quick as possible.
In sentencing, the magistrate described this incident as a spectacular disregard for regulations, although the fine imposed was less than the maximum of $350,000.
We have to leave these judgments to the court. We had hoped that perhaps he would be banned from building on this site for at least 10 years, but that power was removed in 2015.
Unfortunately, at the moment, the way the law is, it's only monetary penalties that are available. But look, going forward, I think we'll have some strong discussions with the government about toughening the legislation. More than 9 months on, this is the ugly scene today. Neighbours are pushing for a quick clean-up.
It is an eyesore now. All the rubbish is starting to grass and that, and if it's not something done shortly, it's going to become an eyesore. It's going to become a fire hazard.
The remaining structure is set to be demolished, but council warns any further developments on site will be under their strict watch. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A Tasmanian man accused of murdering his neighbour by shooting him in the head has taken to the stand, giving evidence in his own trial. Kerry Alexander Bilston has pleaded not guilty to murder, today telling the Launceston Supreme Court if he intended to hurt the now deceased, he had plenty of previous opportunities to do that. Our reporter Monika Dadson has more.
In the witness box, Mr Bilston maintained he never intended to shoot Dean Peter Manshandon last October, saying he's thought about the incident every day since and has had to see counsellors. The 66-year-old Lotta man is standing trial, accused of murdering his neighbour by shooting him in the head from 30 metres away using a shotgun loaded with a solid slug. Today, Mr Bilston told the court Mr Manshandon had been burning off the day of the incident and ash was falling dangerously close to his property. He said he went to confront his neighbour about that and the fact he'd been verbally abusing his partner. Mr Bilston claimed he took a shotgun for protection, saying he was frightened and had previously been threatened by his neighbour. Soon after the confrontation, Mr Bilston fired a shot and Mr Manshandon was dead. The accused told the court he didn't think he was aiming anywhere near the now deceased and fired over the top of fern trees. But prosecutor Darryl Coates argued if that was correct, he should have missed Mr Manshandon by a country mile. The accused replied, "That's what I expected. I still don't know to this day how the man came to be injured." He added, "It's very wild country up there. If I intended to do something to hurt him, I had plenty of opportunities to do that, and there's no way he would have ever been found." The court also heard Mr Bilston was the one who reported the death to police. There are now no more witnesses left to give evidence, which means that closing addresses will begin first thing tomorrow morning. It's then expected the jury will start deliberating either later in the day or early on Thursday.
Several Tasmanian oyster growers are reeling after a sewage spill wiped out stock ahead of the busiest time of the year. Taswater says the spill was the result of an unexpected downpour, but a frustrated industry is calling for a permanent solution.
Counting the cost of yet another blow, oyster grower Josh Polk says the latest sewage spill into pit water has wiped out stock ahead of the busiest time of year.
It basically puts back Christmas sales to winter time next year or beyond.
Taswater says the spill was a result of a weekend drenching. Despite contingency measures in place, the Cambridge treatment plant couldn't handle the downpour.
But with the amount of rain that we got over that period, which is estimated at 186 megalitres of water, it was almost impossible to contain.
Several growers will now wait out a 3-week period to determine if the oysters are safe for harvest. The prime harvesting season now halted, costing small businesses thousands of dollars each day.
The growers put away about 25% of their stock just for the pre-Christmas rush. So a closure over 3 weeks at Pittwater is a massive impact on growers.
We've got projects in the system that we're executing to prevent or minimise these sorts of spills.
Growing in Pittwater for several years, Estrine Oysters claims to have been impacted by similar sewage events at least 5 times.
I think that they're modelling on these 1 in 5 year events, and 1 in 10 year events may have some flaws in it because it's definitely happening more often than that.
Spills are unavoidable. I guess the thing that we're trying to work out at the moment is the extent to which they're happening, reasonable or unreasonable.
An event compounding the discovery of the fatal Pacific oyster mortality syndrome at Pittwater 2 weeks ago. Another season, growers will struggle to get product to market. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's government businesses will be in the spotlight this week as part of annual scrutiny hearings. Metro Tasmania today defending a delay to Launceston's network review as negotiations over the bus terminal continue.
Most businesses don't want buses outside their business, but they've got to go somewhere. And so that is a broad conversation that Launceston's having at this point, and you couldn't possibly proceed with a network review while that's being resolved.
Metro is not anticipating the review will lead to a decrease in Launceston services. The state opposition has ruled out privatising government businesses following conflicting comments on morning radio. Shadow Treasurer Scott Bacon says Labor won't be selling Tas Networks, despite one Labor MP claiming the idea isn't off the table to help fund school upgrades.
We won't be taking any privatisations to the election. We don't believe that the Tasmanian people fundamentally believe that any government assets should be sold at the moment.
We don't need to sell Tas Networks. We will not sell Tas Networks because good, prudent budget management, as we have demonstrated over the last 3.5 years, you can fund recurrent expenditure.
The opposition says it's hypocritical for the government to be firing shots following attempts to sell the Tamar Valley Power Station. Swimming is a big part of the Tasmanian lifestyle, but it also presents risks for migrants with little background in water safety. Now, special lessons are teaching refugees how to survive in the water in time for summer.
Sun and a splash go hand in hand. But those new to the state are at a higher risk of drowning, according to life-saving experts. In response, 70 teenage migrants are taking part in free lessons covering essential survival skills.
I've been teaching swimming myself since I was 15, and I must say this is actually one of the most exciting moments in my career.
One student from Afghanistan had a near-death experience in the water 2 years ago.
My friend just pushed me in the water. I nearly died, I didn't know how to swim.
The lessons have improved the 18-year-old's confidence and skills in the water, which has also helped him socially.
It's enjoyable to go in the gorge and have fun with your friends.
Royal Life Saving Tasmania hopes the lessons will have a flow-on effect as these students teach their parents and siblings the same skills.
Slowly I build up, now I can swim in the river.
11 people drowned in Tasmania last year, all but one were male. As the temperature rises, so does the danger, as more of us head to rivers and beaches. Meanwhile, boat owners are reminded to keep security in mind this summer. The RACT says thieves target a boat's motor much more often than the boat itself, and the number of damage claims double during the summer months. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
A bumper day for cruise ship visits has been marred by a gastro outbreak. More than 8,000 passengers and crew sailed into Hobart on board the Pacific Eden and the massive Ovation of the Seas. It's being described as the busiest cruise day the port has ever seen.
It's just bliss seeing so many excited people enjoying what the city has to offer, and fortunately the weather's cleared up a little bit.
Public Health confirmed it was notified of a gastro outbreak on board the Ovation, which is not uncommon for large ships. Authorities say there is no risk for Tasmanians and infection protocols are in place. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The share market has closed lower due to falls in the heavyweight financial, materials and healthcare sectors. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 13.9 points. Short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 76.5 US cents and 64.43 euro cents.
The Tasmanian Tigers are edging close to victory at Blunston Arena, with New South Wales sitting at 2 for 40 a short time ago after being sent back into bat. Earlier in the day, the Tigers' attack were on fire, bowling the visitors all out for 208.
With the Tigers declaring on 392, the Blues began the day with their backs against the wall, and it only took an over for things to start unravelling, with Gabe Bell claiming Nick Maddinson for a duck. Daniel Hughes followed on 2 in the very next over, courtesy of Jackson Bird. Things going from bad to disastrous for the visitors when Bell sent a runless Nick Larkin packing to have the Blues on 3 for 4. Curtis Patterson providing some resistance to the Tigers' attack, but that surge was short-lived as Sam Rainbird struck. Ed Cowan wouldn't be as easily accounted for, providing some slight glimmers of hope as he raced past 50. Needing to stem the momentum, Bird stepped up to claim Cowan on 67. With Peter Neville looming as the other threat, the addition of Beau Webster's spin was enough to end his innings on 38. Trent Copeland lasting just 9 runs, with Tom Rogers securing his first scalp of the day. Steve O'Keefe refusing to go without a fight, but thankfully for the Tigers, that wasn't the case for the rest of the Blues order. Harry Conway, the last wicket to fall, with the visitors all out for 208, trailing by 184 runs.
In a bid to create a classier and more professional atmosphere for his next fight, featherweight champion Luke Jackson has partnered with Rest Point Casino, which is the likely venue for his next Tasmanian bout. Jackson's team is still in talks with world champion Oscar Valdez, along with several top-ranked fighters.
It's a venue that's been synonymous with Jackson in recent years, but simply put, he and his team feel they've outgrown Hobart City Hall.
We're getting the same people to the shows, and I think now that it's time to, if we want to bring a world title fight to Tasmania, we need to change venues. We can't do it at the City Hall.
Following talks with Events Tasmania and Rest Point Casino, Jackson says the 1,600 capacity Tasman Room will be the venue for his next fight in the state, a far cry from the rowdy old walls of City Hall.
We're taking it this next level. It's got extra in the capacity. It means that we can cater for more corporate support. It means that we can give people a better view.
Jackson's promoter is currently in talks with the camps of several top-ranked fighters. World champion Oscar Valdez remains the clear preference for a potential bout on March 10 over in the States.
If we get the call up, we're ready to go. I'm ready to go to America. I've told my team that that's what I want.
Valdez is expected to announce in the coming weeks who his next opponent will be. If it's not Jackson, his team will try and secure a fight in Hobart around the same date as the Valdez bout, potentially with world number 3 African featherweight champion Sicaria Lucas or world number 15 Jose Veraza from Mexico.
You know, he's won an Australian title, he's won a couple of different regional titles, he's ranked number 8 in the world, and Luke's time is the next 12 months.
Tasmanian lawn bowls ace Rebecca Van Ash will make her Commonwealth Games debut on the Gold Coast next year. The 29-year-old, who was recently crowned the Tasmanian Athlete of the Year, is one of 17 players selected.
To be able to have that environment and the atmosphere of the home crowd is something that I can't wait for.
Bowls started with the first Empire Games in 1930. Australia is 5th overall with 9 gold medals, including Rob Perella's famous singles win at Auckland in 1990. Tasmanian footballer Jess Wuchner says she's ready to take her game to another level in next year's AFLW competition. Working with a strength and conditioning coach in the lead up to the Brisbane Lions pre-season training ahead of her second season with the club.
I just think that a lot of the girls are a lot more ready for what was coming, and we've been able to go into pre-season sort of already at a good fitness level and things like that.
The speedy midfielder and small forward was taken by the Lions at pick number 34 in the 2017 draft.
Good evening. Well, the rain left us alone for a little while. Hobart 17 today, Launceston 22, Burnie and Devonport 18. Strawn and Ouse 21 today, Campania 20, King Island and Grove 19, Flinders Island, Wynyard and Friendly Beaches 18, Low Head and St Helens 17, and Lyre snuck back into negative territory last night. There is a surface trough along the east coast of Australia containing multiple low pressure centres, producing all that cloud there over the Tasman and Coral Seas. Also, we have clear weather through central Australia, while cloud was observed over WA as a low developed over the Indian Ocean. The east and south under a broad area of cloud today, scattered cloud developed over the west and south this afternoon. Tomorrow, a low pressure system will move off the Victorian coast, pushing a trough south near our east coast. A cold front moves to our west. Mainly south to southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 knots tomorrow, increasing to 20 to 30 knots over the east. Winds then shifting south-southwesterly during the afternoon and evening. A severe weather warning for heavy rainfall is current for the Furneaux Island group, northeast and east coast areas. Strong wind warning from Cape Portland to Tasman Island. A flood watch for the eastern half of Tasmania. A warning to sheep graziers for parts of the east coast as well. So for tomorrow, the rain's back. 17 for Hobart, 17 for Geeveston, rain developing 2 for Bothwell, 16 degrees. Launceston, rain, 19, 20 the top for Devonport with a shower developing and 18 for Cressy. For Burnie, partly cloudy, 21 degrees, Strawn partly cloudy and 20, and Curry mostly sunny, 18 degrees, so the rain missing there, but getting the east coast. Heavy at times too. St Helens and Orford, 17 degrees, and Swansea, 15. UV though, still extreme. On Thursday, rain early over the east and southeast, clearing, but showers will develop over the west before extending throughout during the day. Showers on Friday contracting to the north and northeast by evening, and on Saturday, showers possible over most areas, clearing though to a fine day on Sunday. Sunny in Perth, Brisbane and Darwin tomorrow, a possible shower for Melbourne, and showers clearing eventually from Sydney.
That's all from the team for now. We will of course see you with updates. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.